He started with this, Mr. Sinha said that, starting with a joke, I'm going to follow him. Okay. Picnic. This man goes to the doctor, and the doctor finds his, he gets his lab reports, and he says, I have some very specific instructions to give you. He says, what? You know what? Your blood sugar is high, so you have to cut down on sugar. Your blood pressure is also on the higher side, so cut down on salt. Your cholesterol seems to be going higher from last time. Last year you came, and now 1 year later it's high. So you have to cut back on fats. And then he gives him a list of things to avoid. And the wife comes back. When he comes home, the wife says, so what are we going to do? What are we going to change? Are we going to change all those eating habits? He says, no, I'm changing my doctor. So, that is the reality when it comes to nutrition. When you go to the doctors, many times their knowledge of nutrition is very limited. And of course, we depend on them to give us at least some basic guidelines. And in our group discussion, we really understood that the needs of the caregiver are as important as the person receiving care. Okay, Mr. Sinha already set the tone of a person whose spouse just gets a little stroke. All of a sudden, life comes to a standstill. You are working full time, and you're in your 50s, and your spouse has a stroke. And where do you start? What do you feel? He has dysphagia, meaning he has got swallowing difficulty, he has financial difficulties. You have a young family to take care of. You have to take care of yourself, your job. So it's often the woman who becomes the caregiver. And we feel that it is important to take care of the woman's needs, the caregiver's needs, as well as the person receiving the care, equally important. So we decided that we first of all try to realize what are the obstacles, what are the challenges to meet in meeting the needs, the nutritional needs of an elderly person at home who needs care. Okay, proper nutrition is very important. We are not going into the calories and the protein needs of a particular person. This is very important as well as very, very easy to understand, because if you have a practitioner, a nutrition practitioner whom you can invite as part of your care team, they will tell you everything that you need to know about calories and protein and vitamins and minerals and so on. But how do you get how do we make the senior person living at home who is needing the care to get these nutritional needs met? Okay, what are the obstacles? We identified almost 10 different obstacles to meeting their nutritional needs, and they happen to be, they can have changes in their taste and smell because of medications, because of the fact that you're growing older. Very often your taste buds change, and very often you can taste the sweets much, or you crave for sweets rather than the salty things. Even those who have not liked sweets all their lives, all of a sudden look for a dessert. Okay, and they start complaining about the same recipe that you've been using to make the dal or the sambar. They say it's not tasting the same. So as a caregiver, what do you have to do? How do you overcome that obstacle? You just change, you tweak the recipe. Okay, you just add some Splenda, some sugar to the recipe, and then bring down the salt in the same dish that your mother or father who's been taken care of will like it better. You may want to bring some dishes from your friend and say, okay, try this recipe so it may appeal to their taste buds much better. What about their hearing? You give them specific instructions. You must take this medication before you eat your lunch, but they don't hear it. Okay, and when you come home, medicine is sitting and all, as well as the lunch is sitting, and the person is a diabetic, and you as a caregiver, you are disgusted, you are frustrated. So this is a typical scenario. What do we do in those situations? You have to use some color coding for the food, color coding for the medication, the black trays for lunch, white trays for your snack. So, and put a little carrot on top of the dish that she has to eat at a certain time. So you need to come up with some very, very specific ideas to overcome those obstacles. What if they have denture problems? As we grow older, we start losing our dentition, and we have dentures. And very often we don't even want to talk about it. When you have new dentures, you cannot chew, you cannot eat your favorite foods anymore. You just stay away from eating with people. You have to understand as a caregiver, you can make everything that you eat, whether the rice, dal, or sambar, or idli, put it in a blender, make it into if it's a sweet, it's a smoothie, or like a mixture, so that they can eat the same food but they don't have to forego the nutrition as well. So the caregiver becomes more creative, and the person receiving the care does not become nutritionally deficient. Communication. Very often the communication is an obstacle, because if it's an in-law, there is an in-law relationship that may not be very favorable to either one of them. They may not want to communicate, they may not want to even have eye contact with each other. So if you leave something, you come back and it is not eaten. If you are taking care of a person, it's very, very important to empathize, to be sensitive to the needs of the person to be taken care of. And most people don't want to eat alone. Dining alone is, when you're alone, everybody has gone to work, and you're watching a serial, you don't feel, the serial is all depressing and you don't want to eat, and you come back, all the food is left there. So you want to be part of a group. If you can get out, if you can go out to any groups like our senior programs, or if you can become part of an agency, part of an organization where you get to meet your friends, there you feel like eating much better. Our seniors do eat better when they're in a group, which is very, very obvious. And very often, which we don't want to discuss, constipation is a very, very important obstacle for me. Many times you have patients hospitalized thinking it is not intestinal obstruction. It is nothing other than simple constipation for many, many days, because they don't want to drink water. After 5 o'clock, they stop drinking water because they don't want to run to the bathroom. So these are, that is another obstacle. One has to realize they must be encouraged to drink water. They must be encouraged to eat more fiber and more vegetables and fruits. He mentioned 5 fresh fruits and vegetables. So how about if you're alone? It's okay if you have somebody taking care of you. You're alone and you're trying to take care of yourself. Okay, I don't want to cook for myself. I just eat whatever is left over. When I went to a party, I brought some leftovers and I tried to eat it over 3 days. Or I know I can get it from Meals on Wheels, but they don't serve the kind of food that I want. We are mostly Indians here, and we are used to very specific kind of food, so they are not serving those foods. So how do we come across? In the future, hopefully, Meals on Wheels will be able to serve. Or maybe we can encourage our family or friends or youngsters to go and check on these people who are at home bound, to see if they at least ate something. Bring a dish from the canteen or wherever, Osha Foods, to encourage them to eat. And if monotony is a problem, you leave something day in and day out, the same kind of food, they don't want to eat monotony. These are the obstacles. Now, going to the caregiver is frustrated, she's pressed for time. So it is very, very important for them to know, understand, if it is a female, to understand her nutritional needs and try to meet those needs, though it may be very difficult. One has to prioritize the time, make their lives much more organized. They have to make time. There's no such thing as I don't have time. And they have to identify other caregivers, which was already mentioned. Friends, if even a friend wants to come 1 day a week to be with your parent, you must allow that. And you should become part of a group where you can get inspiration, you can get encouragement, you are being, sometimes you need to get some encouragement. Okay, you're doing a good job. Some friends saying that it's okay. We also went through this, other stories. You feel more encouraged. So you have to become part of a very positive, with people with a positive attitude. And this opened up a big, like Pandora's box. There's so many issues, and it is cannot be summed up in 7 minutes. I just have to very briefly mention all the other aids that one may need as we are homebound. I'm just going to mention those aids. One may need walking aids such as walkers, canes, scooters, wheelchairs. Those may be available through your program, and you can get more information about them from your caregivers. Hospital beds are very useful because they can go up and down, and it makes your sleep much better at night. And bathroom safety products, you need handrails. You may need, when you get in and out of the showers, you may need more gadgets. There are lift chairs available, and there are personal emergency response system, which if you have, can identify if you have a bracelet, if you're wearing a gadget which will communicate with the caregivers that you are at risk for a problem. And emergency medical information services are available. Global positioning system, if you're driving, The GPS is very, very useful to you. And also, there are so many motion sensors. If your parent is upstairs and you're downstairs, there are some motion sensors and sound sensors which tells you if they fell or if they have, if they're snoring, you know that they're all right. So there are so many gadgets and aids available. One just has to get to know what is available and work with them. So good luck to all of us, either you're a caregiver or a care receiver. We will all be there one day, and let's hope and pray that our future is in good hands.